What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. A very happy Friday indeed. BobbyFi here with my man, Eric Sheets Haber. I'm coming off of Sheets has had another great winning night. The guy is Mr. just positive ROI in all sports, even including hockey that I don't even touch. And he's also doing well in baseball and had a rough one in basketball. But I had a great day. I won I chopped the monster in basketball. I finished fifth in the walk-off home run, and I cashed in both my walk-off home run entries, the 555. I finished in 20th on the 555 on FanDuel, and cashed in that one in my only entry over there. I cashed in every FanDuel lineup I played yesterday, both basketball and one lineup I didn't cash in basketball. And then I didn't win on basketball on DraftKings, but won on baseball. So really good day for me, but really close to winning that big one in baseball. You could have used one more hit, and I literally win $50K from Chris Taylor there at the end. But hey, I'll take it. Sheets, what's your first thoughts today? What are you looking at?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, I have basically 5 or 6, I don't want to say key teams I'm looking for hitting, and my pitching pool is very, very, very small today. I mean, we'll get through them. I mean, but I'm on DraftKings. I mean, literally, I would say 3 pitchers. I mean, maybe 2 if you want to know the truth.
Serious?
What's that?
You serious? You're only playing 2 pitchers?
Maybe.
Okay.
And I just love 2 of them so much. And then on FanDuel, maybe just 3. But maybe, I mean, I don't know. See how much I play on DraftKings. We'll see.
I could see going 5 pitchers on FanDuel or 1. I mean, it's so weird with FanDuel how you want to go. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's go game by game. Let's call up your screen over here. I believe you have the.
All right. So the first game, Boston and New York. The obviously top pitcher on the slate for me is going to be Cole, and it's really interesting because I guess because they're aces and everybody's got the same rotations that they have Cole always going like the same day as DeGrom, which is kind of cool in a way for DFS, because always provides that instant pivot if you ever wanted to do it, right? Last week I did it actually, and it worked out. And the week before I didn't. I've been pretty on top of this one. I really do like Cole as my top pitcher today. He's going to be really popular, but for good reason. And I'm gonna, I might end up just getting him into every lineup if you want to know the truth. And then on the other side of the coin, not other side of the coin, other side of the plate. I really like the Yankees here. I mean, there's going to be Coors, which is going to be the popular. I mean, obviously the top stack. Texas or Colorado. There are a lot of other places you can go, but I'm kind of into New York today. I'm kind of into the Yankees, and as we get to the next game, I'll be kind of into the Mets also. So I am kind of interested in these Yankee hitters.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Cole. He's obviously the top pitcher right now. Like, I don't think you need to play him though. I do think that there are guys who are in the lower range that could outscore him. There's one particular spot that I'm in love with, so we'll get into that when we get there. But I love this Yankee stack. The more I think about it, the more I love it. I mean, I know that they have so many extra arms these days, but that doesn't mean they're good arms. You know what I mean? And they just gave up like 500 runs in the last 3 games. They've played every day, the Red Sox. You've got Brazier in there, who's probably going to be there a couple innings. Even for a bullpen game, this should be a nightmare situation for them. So I love the Yankees as a stack, and the more I think about it, the more I would like to make them a higher priority. What's tough is with Judge's price and no Stanton, it's not the and a struggling Glaber, although I do like Glaber today. It's not quite as exciting, and there's that nice to see Gary Sanchez hit one yesterday. So it's a little bit like I like the spot and I like the name. I'm wondering if maybe I really like the plays enough. So they're definitely one of the 5 favorite stacks for me, but I don't know where they rank. As of right now, I've got them currently 5th, but I do like them a lot, and I think that it's one of those games that could get really out of hand. So it makes a lot of sense. Just individually, do I want to play 5.2 for LeMahieu? No. You know what I mean? But on a stack, sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I mean, I like Hicks.
Love Hicks.
I like Torres too, even though he's a righty. Yeah, you don't have to.
Mike Ford is a great play on FanDuel, a cheap play,
Yep, Ford on DraftKings also. Why not?
And the thing is, you don't need to get as creative with this stack if you don't want to. It's going to be, I don't think you're going to get absurd ownership today, although you will have ownership. Don't get me wrong. You're going to have high ownership, but it's not going to be high. It's going to be high like what last night would have been considered low. Like the Pittsburgh stack last night, people were like 5-7%, which I ended up playing some of. It's going to be a little bit like 9-10%, I'm guessing, for the Yankees. I don't know. We'll see as it goes on. I have no projections out there yet. I'm just sort of speculating. But yeah, definitely one of the best stacks. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Pull up your screen.
Oh, I thought I was up. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, I can tell I knew you were gonna like the Met stack today.
Yeah. So Mets Philly. What's this day-to-day DeGrom thing? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, no, it's because they were. It's fine. I mean, right now we're assuming he's fine and he's going to pitch and everything. I'm not. I'm not going to play him anyway, so I'm just going to be honest. I want to play him, sure, but it's just I mean, if I'm going to spend up, realistically, I'm going to spend up for Cole.
Right, but as I mentioned, I asked you this question last week. When these guys went against each other, what kind of ownership difference does there have to be for you to play DeGrom?
Like if it's a drastic one, and it's always different, but this is like a lot different of a matchup. Like, first of all, Boston's lineup hasn't been the same. Well, Philly's lineup has been bad, but at least these guys are like patient and they get walks and they work counts and they're familiar with DeGrom and they're in division. I mean, and while that might seem true for the Yankees and Cole just got to the Yankees. He hasn't faced these guys the same amount of times. I don't find this one particularly that close. I think that it's easily Cole for me, but I'll probably throw a DeGrom in as a pivot, but I honestly don't like having to pay up in general in this slate. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to end up doing it for Cole.
Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me.
But I mean, look, there is like DeGrom, you have to like sweat whenever he pitches and you don't play him because he actually could go out there and like, put up 35 and you could be in real trouble. And if you could get them together, there's a couple stacks you could get them together with if you like them. I don't like those stacks, but you can actually do it. That's how crazy it is. Well, there's one I do like actually that you could play them together and stack them.
So yeah, so in the Mets, I mean, I like them a lot. I'll start with the lefties. I like Conforto and Nemo, and you always got to throw Alonso in regardless of whether righty lefty. McNeil, Dominic Smith, even. I mean, I think it's a very, very strong stack. I mean, it's again, I prefer to not have to just go to Texas and Colorado. You know what I mean? So Mets might get some ownership from people that think the way I do, I guess. And it is such an easy. It's easy to find the plays. You know what I mean? So maybe they'll end up being more popular than I originally thought they might be. But yeah, I certainly like them a lot.
I'm looking at it right now, just what the past is with DeGrom versus this team. I maybe wrote him off a little too quickly. Now, he actually hasn't faced them as much as he could have because the guys like Neil Walker, who he's faced, are not going to be in the lineup. When you look at like Segura, 3 for 15, Real Muto, 4 for 25 with 9 strikeouts. Even Harper, who's hit him 10 for 34, but with 12 strikeouts. There's a lot of strikeouts. 33% strikeout rate here. I'm interested in him a little bit. I actually think I think I spoke too soon before. So if he does come in really low owned, I absolutely am going to have more interest. It's not just because of the BVP stuff. I think that when you were saying that to me, I think I was just disregarding it because that was what my first brain did this morning. But I think maybe I did it too quickly. So I'm going to be open to him, and we'll get into it at the end with pitching. But with hitting, I do like the Mets stack. I think that more than a stack, though, I think that I'm probably looking at a few spots because I don't want to stack everybody. I think it would be Alonso, Conforto number 1, Alonso number 2, J.D. Davis, really good changeup hitter. Dominic Smith, I like a lot. All those guys. Wilson Ramos is a good catching option at 3.3 with some pop in a good hitting environment. So, yeah, I'm behind it, man. I just think there's other stacks I like a little bit better, but it's definitely one of the ones on my list, and I don't mind using any of the guys anywhere.
All right. Moving on to the next game, Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. I see the little cloud guy there, so we have to worry about, whenever I see the little cloud, I always have to double check. But on the pitching side, Sonny Gray is certainly always has good upside. I played him quite a bit. He has. It's like one of the few guys, I guess, that the Yankees kind of like either gave up on or let go. I don't know what happened. He's really come around. He's all last year pretty much and into this year. I mean, he's really, really good. And I just like somebody a little better. Let's put it that way, a little cheaper. I certainly like him as if he's going to be low owned somehow. I don't really think he's going to be that low owned either. But I certainly within my, if I were going to play a lot of lineups and deviate from Cole and do different kinds of builds, I probably would use him. I just don't think I'm going to go that way. But again, like if you just you want to know who good picks are, I mean, Gray is certainly, a good upside type pitcher. His price is, I guess reasonable enough. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I have a very I'm almost like not even considering anybody pitching in this game just because I don't think it's gonna be safe enough for me to try and choose a pitcher.
Weather-wise, you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And it's just like on a site like last night, it made sense to take some shots. You know what I mean? But tonight, if it gets to be bad, and again, it could change if these other storm. I'm just reading the weather report.
Is it orange right now?
It's orange. It's
okay.
Probably, and yeah, I mean, I think that it's actually got a really bad chance. And I'm actually, it kind of makes me a little bit relieved because I was interested in the Cincinnati stack, but I don't want to have too many stacks today. So I didn't like, I kind of like the idea of trying to cross this one off more. So I kind of haven't thought about it as much because I'm giving myself an excuse to with this weather. If I was to play, I don't think Gray is a bad play. I think he's always got upside, which is so weird to say because 2 years ago was the exact opposite with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Chad Kuhl even actually is not the worst. Well, I don't know. I couldn't play him on this slate, but his strikeout upsides look better. I'm just not into this game. I would have liked a stack, and my favorites in the stack would have been the problem is I don't love any of them. But Castellanos, Suarez, Votto, Senzel. Suarez has been so bad that it's worrisome, and I don't want to play the stack without him. So I'm kind of happy just to not have as much interest in this team.
Yeah, I put in just because to fill in this lineup, I was looking for some value guys, and the guy leading off, I can't pronounce his name for the Reds at 3K. He's not bad. Akiyama or whatever.
Shogo, yeah. That guy, by the way, is the reason I also didn't win yesterday. He made 2 outstanding defensive plays in the outfield that would have cost my guys 2 RBI doubles, and that would have been enough to win the tournament. Anyway, side note.
Did they ever even like in the past give defensive points or never? They never did that.
Not that I've played baseball. I mean, I know that there's some leagues that do that kind of thing, but I've never heard of it for DFS.
Atlanta, Miami.
There was some sites. I'm sorry, I take it back. There used to be sites that there was errors you got punished for. Caught stealing, you'd lose points. Strikeouts, you'd lose an extra point. There was things like that too, which I hated. Anyway, keep going.
Atlanta, Miami. I had no interest in any hitters or either pitcher from this game. So that's the way I was. What are your thoughts?
If the roof's open, you might pique a little bit more interest in me. It always makes a big difference in Miami, but I have no reason to think they would open the roof. So I'm sort of with you on this. I don't mind either pitcher, especially Lopez. I think people would play Wright more, I don't know, because he's playing Miami. But this again, we talk about this Atlanta lineup's not quite the same. If the dome's closed, it's one of the better pitchers' parks. Lopez is good enough to limiting damage, and there's a few Ks at the bottom of this lineup now that it's a little bit broken up. And he's shown a little bit of upside this year. So, he had the nice 7K game against Baltimore. He's going to throw enough pitches. At his price, if you want to play Coors and get some lower pitchers, he might be a guy you could pair with a guy like a Woodruff or something and try and get all of Coors in or something if you wanted to.
Right.
But I'm not.
Was Pablo Lopez the guy who was really, really good at home?
I believe he was. But I don't know, remember that he was all that bad on the road. And also, those numbers are weird because pitching in Miami, then going on the road to have to play in Philly and in it's the toughest division in. Well, it was supposed to be the toughest division in baseball coming in this year with Atlanta, Philly, and these monster lineups. So he'd have to face tougher teams. You know what I mean? So it'd kind of be logical that he would and good hitting environments. So, but I don't. Not priority plays. I do think the 2 guys I'd play in this game though, or 3 guys would be if you want to one-up and you end up there. Freddie Freeman first of all, at first base is a really good play no matter what. No one's going to play him today, so he's just a good play. He's one of the best 2 or 3 options at first base. And Ozuna and the other one is Corey Dickerson. Corey Dickerson is probably the best play in this game other than Freeman.
Let's move on to Cleveland and Detroit. And here's my view. My view is that I had no interest in either of the pitchers on today's slate. And I did have interest as I guess I consider this a secondary stack, but not even secondary. I mean, I probably would prioritize along with the Mets and the Yankees. Is I know that Nova can be a little stingy sometimes, but I still like Cleveland here. Let me just clear the Mets just for just a second. I do like Cleveland this spot. I know Nova's whatever, but I mean, you get to play Ramirez and Lindor and who else? Cesar Hernandez, Santana. You play all these guys. I feel as though this is definitely a team that just is going to make my list. Let's just put it that way. Maybe I have 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 or 6 teams that I want to focus on stacking. I think this is just going to be one of them.
Yeah, they're bumping up my list as well because of some weather concerns in another game, which we'll get to in a little bit. I like the idea of Ramirez, Lindor, but the problem is it kind of devalues the advantage you're getting by playing this team. Now, this is the stack I was talking about when I was saying you could play a cheap stack and play both DeGrom and Cole, hope for your 70 fantasy points from your pitchers, which is possible. And then you get 70 from them. All of a sudden, you can get an average of 10 from a 4-man stack and out of Cleveland. And you can do Tyler Naquin at 2.8 possibly. You could do Bradley Zimmer at 3.2, although that's not as exciting. Sandy Leone, the absolute minimum as your catcher. Mike Freeman at 2.4, playing second base or shortstop.
You get Daniel Johnson at 2,900.
I don't know who Daniel Johnson is. I don't know who he is.
Okay, well, he's gonna hit 6th.
I don't have him in any projections.
Okay.
But maybe. I mean, it's possible that it's that he's in there. Daniel Johnson?
I think so.
I can't even find him. I don't even have any information on him.
Okay.
How is that possible that I don't even know who this guy is?
Maybe I don't know who he is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whoever it is, they have the cheap pieces. I prefer Naquin because he's got some power.
Oh, he was sent down, I think. Oh, there you go. So much for that.
Yeah, I don't know what are you looking at that hasn't been the line?
No. I had him in here. There's a list of guys, cheap guys that could be started. Okay.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. They have the cheap side of it. So I found that so far it's been hard for me to get Ramirez and Lindor in together with the stack and trying to do what I was talking about with my pitchers. But you don't need to pay for both pitchers, and I like Santana, so you could maybe play like a Lindor, Santana, Freeman and Naquin or something like that. That seems like a good way. I do hate the idea of stacking and not playing Jose Ramirez, but
yeah, he's tough at 5,600. He's tough, huh?
Yeah, but I don't mind it though. Like I don't mind if you can do it. Like you can do it. I don't love certain other third basemen so much that I need to play them, but it's just a lot to pay for them when there's other good places to pay up on.
Yeah, I think these guys are going to drop a little bit for me.
They're not going to be popular. I mean, if that helps you, I don't think they are at least. We'll see what happens. I just don't think I'm going to be playing any lineups without Cole in them. So it's going to be tough. Wait, no, but wait a minute. But they have the cheapest guys in all of any team. Nobody has cheaper bats than they do.
I want to see who's actually starting in this game. Oh, well, you get Leon at 2,000, right?
Yeah, no matter what, you have 4 players that are beyond that. 4 of the players that are rated as like the top 10 values on the slate.
I mean, I could play these 5 just as an example. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you could do that if you want to. I don't think I would stack these 5 man about it.
Right.
But you could. I mean, there's no problem with it. They definitely can go off. And I think the guy who looks like the best, most obvious pitching option on the slate, including Garrett Cole to me, could be just Savali. I actually think he might end up being the highest score.
Really?
I mean, he's just absolutely dominant. Detroit is the worst team in baseball against right-handed pitching. They strike out the most. This guy just dominated the White Sox twice and the Twins. I don't see why he wouldn't bring it again to Detroit here. So definitely seems like the top play on the slate to me, even though I am going to play more of Cole probably. I don't know. It's actually going to be really close between them. But I also think there's such great options in a game that we're going to come up with soon that I don't know that I'm going to go there.
You're going to get him at under 10%, by the way.
Aaron Savale? Mm-hmm. We'll see about that. The only reason that would happen is if people get on this other game that I'm into, in which case, great. But that's my problem with playing him is that I've got a great perfect pitching environment with two guys I love to pitch in high strikeout matchups that are in the same game, which we'll get to in a minute. That's going to be the argument for fading Savale. But he looks down. I also, by the way, if you're not going to use him, not because he's bad or anything, but because of the prices, I don't want to use an outfielder for cheap because it's too strong a position. But if you're going to, Kristen Stewart would be the guy at 2.2K. Candelario's 2.4K at third base. You're not stacking this team, but these are guys you can use if you need to save something.
Okay, so Kansas City, Minnesota's got a little cloud guy on there.
That's a bad one too.
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to have any interest in these pitchers, but I certainly, as usual, going to have interest in Team Buxton and whoever else they play alongside of Buxton. I mean, you got to start your lineups with Buxton, and then who else they got? They got this Kepler dude also.
Yeah.
And this other Cruz guy. I don't know about that, but wherever Buxton's starting, you know what I mean. So you're going to put him right at 9, where you know what I mean, where it does most damage, where everybody underestimates him. And then they'll build around it. You know what I mean? So they're going to be redoing their entire idea. If in fact this game plays, and in fact they put Buxton at 9, and they keeps if really they have Sano at 8 or something stupid like that. Get the greatest 8-9-1 combination like a history of baseball.
Seriously.
So I got to watch the weather for that for sure. But Minnesota's always in play as a stack and. You know, the normal guys, Buxton. We start with Buxton and Marwin Gonzalez, and then we build out from there. You know, I mean, obviously Kepler would be the best play, and still these guys don't get owned apparently. Rosario, Polanco, and yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like stormy there too, which looks like the wind's blowing crazy out. So if this game happens, which it depends on how badly they're trying to get games in right now. I can tell that.
Yes,
like,
sure.
I don't know how you don't want to play the Twins like that. That's my number one stack, but now I can play less of them because I don't know about this game, and I don't think you need to necessarily take the huge shots. Also, like games after rain and stuff like that, you can often. Not always, but sometimes it's a little bit. It'll cool down the temperature a little bit, and it's not quite the ball's not quite jumping as much. But it does look like good hitting weather even with the rain. So I don't understand that. Yeah, man, it's it's definitely a top stack for me, and I think that it's the normal guys. Kepler's one of the best plays in the slate. Buxton, I absolutely love. I love Rosario. Cruz, Polanco, you throw Marwin into the stacks. No one's going to play Garver, I don't think, anymore.
No
one's going to play Sano batting. You know what I mean? There's just everybody in the stack. And if you need to, the one guy I tend to leave out a little bit is Arias, but I actually think he's a pretty good hitter. I just think that I usually look for more power from this team. That's why I don't usually like him or Marwin, except for Marwin's usually in the middle of the lineup, so he kind of lends himself easier. But Arias is probably the one I would have out, but I don't mind if you're totally stuck with him. And then I don't have any interest in either pitcher either. I definitely think that with the way that Rotorizzi's been reverse splits power-wise to the righties in the past, and Solaire's ability to hit reverse splits righties, I just think Solaire is a terrific one-off who no one's really going to think of.
Okay.
All
right. So Milwaukee, Chicago. I'm presuming the wind is in the pitcher's favor today, or at least it's not blowing out. What's that?
Blowing in.
Yeah, so this is my second pitcher. So Brandon Woodruff is my second pitcher. And these are my top 2 guys kind of by a decent margin. And there's one other guy I'll talk about in the next game, I suppose. But it's a good spot for him. I like him a lot, and the wind blowing in certainly helps. Now, again, Chatwood's a little bit too weird of a situation for me because I remember when people played, not people, but I guess smarter people, like you played him last week. I actually, that was my best lineup. I had him at like 5 points, and he ended up doing decently for me. I remember the analysis from last week that he might have actually changed something over the break, and he was really mowing people down. He had a bad game, and maybe to go back to him, especially in this wind environment, I presume that might be what you want to talk about as another pitcher. I just don't think I'm going to do it. just with other options, but I certainly, will listen to what you have to say. But I just think just the way I'm just doing it, these are just like my top 2 pitchers, and Woodruff is just my favorite.
If the line comes out the way I expect it to, I think these might be the best 2 pitchers on the slate. I think they have the highest upside for their price of any pitcher on the slate. I think they're both interesting on FanDuel also. Like, okay, so it's funny because the Red Sox, as bad as they've been, at least they've got like real hitters in their lineups that are tough. And not that these guys don't, but these guys are striking out all over the place. If the wind is blowing in and suppressing the power, like it did last night, by the way, it's going to be really hard for me not to prioritize both these guys. So that's where I'm struggling a little bit with my pitchers, because I love the other 2 guys and I love these 2, and I love one more guy too, actually. Like love. Like when I say I love a pitcher, I'm looking for the upside of 30 fantasy points on a slate like this, because there's good pitching options, and I believe these guys have it. Like I really do. So I like both of them. I prefer. I mean, what Milwaukee's been doing is incredible strikeout wise, and you combine that with, the Cubs are similar. I actually like Woodruff a little better maybe as a pitcher, but I'm very into this, man. I'm going to have a ton of exposure to both sides of it. It's just, again, I have a lot of pitchers that I like today. I'm not having an easy time deciding between them. So this is where I'm at right now. These guys are definitely 2 of the top 5 for me, and potentially could end up being one of the 2 in most of my lineups, depending on how much the wind ends up affecting things.
Okay.
No hitters.
No hitters. Okay, so Texas, Colorado. Well, we're talking hitting first. Texas rates, as usual, the road team, rates to be the better value here. I shouldn't say as usual, but in any case, Texas rates to be the better value. They rate to be the most popular stack on the slate, and they're against the weaker pitcher. So, Texas. This is why Texas, the bats look really, really good. Same comment as before. I don't really feel like making the case against them, but again, if you're going to play them, I don't know if I want to play Cole with another chalky pitcher with Texas guys, if you can even do it. So that's so that maybe that might depress their ownership a little bit. The fact that it's going to be tough to get to that many of them, because if you want to play Cole and a higher guy, I don't know. Now, on the pitching side for Texas, I wanted to ask you about this because, Lance Lynn he's been really, really good. He's been striking people out like all over town. And I always wanted to ask you about this stuff. Like, maybe I just got lucky, whatever, because when I had hit Marquez at home with Colorado, I always feel, for whatever reason, that high strikeout guys in Colorado, not instinctively, it wouldn't seem like they're as affected by quote unquote course as like the other guys, right? Because you don't get a lot of those gap hits, you know what I mean? You don't get a lot of that stuff that swing through the air. Now, obviously, you have home run issues, whatever it is, but that's why when you're thinking about playing pitchers in Colorado, I don't like the guys that supposedly can withstand power or control power, because the Coors just provides it. But if you're a strikeout pitcher, I don't know, are there parks that actually make strikeouts harder to come by, or is it just because when they don't strike out, there's just so much more home run up aside? Because normally Lynn's a good pitcher. He's pitching really well. I'm just not going to get to him today. So for me, I'm not going to get to either pitcher, although Lynn certainly has, you talk about 30-point upside, he certainly has it. And Texas, as far as my favorite hitters, my favorite stack just in and of itself, but not in GPPs probably. And Colorado's probably second.
Yeah. Colorado is not a stack that I'll be playing today. I'll definitely have pieces of it. But I do think it's a dangerous situation for Lance Lynn. Like, they now have a ton of lefties they're going to throw at him. Now, some of them are not the greatest lefties in the world, and most of them are struggling. So maybe you can look at that a little bit, or some of them are struggling. I think so I'm not going to play Lance Lynn. If he was like 5K or something, I absolutely vote up on him. But I also don't like Castellani is like a top prospect. This is not a guy who I expect to pitch very long. It is a guy who might be very, very tough to see the first time you see him. and
Well, that's interesting.
Somewhat of a bullpen game. I mean, just everybody's like that. Every new guy. If he gets wild, I don't think they're going to let him go crazy pitching through it. But I bet they'll let him go through a little bit of it. It's interesting. I mean, obviously Joey Gallo is one of the best plays on the slate, but I don't think I'm going to be stacking mostly, but I will go with some Texas mini stacks. Joey Gallo is my favorite power upside guy. The obvious other play is going to be Willie Calhoun. He's too cheap on both sides, DraftKings and FanDuel. Blackman and Odor would be the other guys in this game for me. I don't mind if you want to, like Chu, I'll have, some of. I'll have some of, like a lot of these guys, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. The Texas guys are cheap, so they're going to be popular. And I will take some of the lefties against Lance Lynn, but I'm just not going to go crazy with it. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 in his spots, and I'm not going to get into these 4-man stacks. Maybe I'll do one with Texas, but that's pretty much it. I mostly am going to be 2, 3 men, that kind of a thing. And I mentioned the guys I was going to play: Gallo, Blackman, Calhoun, Odor. I'll have some like Chirinos because he's I'll only have Chirinos with a Texas 4-man. And then Chu's also like an interesting play at 4.7. It's a little too good a price for him. And Solak is cheap, but yeah, I'm looking at this more as like 2 ups, maybe a 2 or 3-man stack for Texas and not really much else. Maybe a 2-man for Colorado, but not much else.
Okay, so Seattle and Houston. This is the other pitcher for me. If I was going to go to a third, so Valdez was going to be the third guy I would go to, along with Woodruff and Cole. And you're probably talking me into Chatwood also. If you want to.
There's one more guy.
We'll talk about him in a minute. But Valdez, he'd be my third guy, and he's going to probably be my third guy on FanDuel. So it'd be Cole at the top of FanDuel, and then slightly behind him is Woodruff and Valdez also. We'll just, it's I keep saying it's a decent spot, and then as I always say, the Mariners put up 10 runs. I do like Valdez here, and I also do like the Houston Bats as the as one of my teams I want to attack. Now again, sometimes Kikuchi can be sneaky, but I don't know. We're gonna get Springer back in the lineup now. I mean, we have a real lineup now. We got Springer as a righty. We got Bregman. We got Altuve, Correa. I mean, this could be pretty good. So this is one of my not more favorite, but one of the stacks that I might be considering.
Yeah. Okay. So I get it. Like I love George Springer. I think he's my favorite, one of my favorite. He might be like the best play on the slate at 4.6 for hitters. Like that's ridiculous. These 4.6 against a lefty. So I love Springer. I like the other guys. I don't love them. We have not seen that much from them this year. We keep treating them, and their prices are treating them as if they've been productive. They have not. Jose Altuve is hitting like 180.
Yep.
Let's not go crazy with this, in my opinion. Let's find out who's in the starting lineup.
Okay.
I think we actually do have a starting lineup now. Oh, Jordan Alvarez back. I actually do kind of like the idea of taking a shot on Jordan Alvarez and like lefty. He's got some lefty power. That actually makes me like this team a little bit better than I initially did tonight. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a better lineup than I thought it was going to be. It's just I'm not in love with. Let's say put it this way. I'll make it a 10% stack because I think there's upside, but even that feels like it might end up being too much on the slate.
Okay.
For me, I mean, I totally get it. Just
where do you rank?
Springer and Alvarez would be my favorite plays, followed by Bregman.
What do you think of Valdez?
I like Valdez, but I like other guys better. He's one of the guys I like a lot, though. Like, I mean, if you're gonna ask me like who I think has a better game, it's gonna be really close between him and the guy coming up. I've actually got them as my 2 pitchers together quite a bit.
Okay.
I like Valdez. I mean, I do. I like the other guys.
Sounds good. Hey, sounds good.
It's good.
All right. So Dodgers against the Angels. Pretty gross what I'm about to say, but
About it too.
I don't know if I have any interest in this.
Oh, I think this has been different.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
They scored too many runs for you last night. I forgot about that.
Yeah, way too many.
How about, can I interest you that it's 91 degrees in Anaheim, which like never happens at 7 p.m. we're going to get a nice warm hitters park and a nice little matchup for these Dodgers who crush these lefties. I mean, they crush righties really, but they've got a couple guys who are on fire, including my favorite guy, my man who's literally locked in, my call of the day yesterday.
Pollock. Yeah. Yeah, they get one stack every slate. I think the Twins have to get one and the Dodgers have to get one. I think every slate. I think you're right. I was more thinking about pitchers that I don't have any interest in either of the pitchers. It's so weird that we don't have any interest in Clayton Kershaw finally. I mean, like, what was he like a couple of years ago before I started playing? Was he like 13K?
Oh, a couple of years ago, yeah. I mean, he was like unhittable. Like he wouldn't. It was like a
when he was unhittable. When he was like,
he was like
Westbrook. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was like you're getting 25 to 50 every time he pitched, including like he had like a game where he had like 82 DraftKings points or something. He had a no hitter with like 17. I think he had a no hitter. No, it was a no hitter with 15 strikeouts, and he and he only walked one guy or something like that. Maybe it was 17 strikeouts. I don't remember. All right, I like the Dodgers. Shocker. I like
good. I mean, hey, I'll take it.
I would prioritize Pollock as being one of the best plays on the entire slate, and I think Mookie's a great play. I'm a little concerned about Bellinger, but his swing looks better than he actually has been, like the numbers would show. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll go to Seager in a lefty-lefty matchup, even if he's hitting lower in the order. I don't mind taking what is, again, I think going to be a lower-owned Dodgers stack. So I'm into it. Let's go for it.
But I forgot to give you kudos because I didn't think I was going to do that well in baseball last night. All of a sudden, all of my lineups just like when moving to the right, I'm like, what the hell just happened? And freaking Barnes hit the home run. That was sweet.
Oh yeah, that was a nice one.
Sweet.
It actually hurt me in the big one because I would have passed two more people because I had Real Muto in the big one who hit 2 home runs. But it got people closer because that was one of my big differentiators. Anyway.
Well, obviously you got to like Turner too, right?
So, yeah, Turner, yeah, but he's fine. My favorite would be Betts, Pollock, followed by Betts, Bellinger, Seager, Muncy, Kike, then Turner and Taylor. But they're all pretty bunched up. I like all of them a bunch. Kike and Taylor allow you to open things up for you because they're a little bit cheaper and they, especially like on FanDuel, Taylor's 2.4. On DraftKings, he's 3.4. He almost won me all the money last night. It was a beautiful day. It was an incredible 2v2 swap that I've been talking about for 50K today, but it didn't quite happen. Anyway, but I'm going to go back to these guys and I'll have like 20% of almost every Dodger tonight is my current plan. We'll see if it changes, but I actually think that they're better as like again, I know I keep saying this about things, but more as a 3-man. Whereas like a team like Minnesota, if you're going to stack them, I would go 4 or 5 all the time. I like the Dodgers' power here. I actually like the Angels a little bit. I don't want this not to stack them, but I really like Rendon, Upton, and Trout. And I don't mind if you want to throw Shohei Ohtani. Like, I'm not going to stack the Angels on this slate against Kershaw. Don't get me wrong. But I think there's power upside. He's been giving up bombs for the last year and a half every game. I think one of these guys, or potentially 2, connect with one.
If I were playing, multiple lineups, I'd probably get one. I'm not playing enough lineups to get to them.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to have them on any main lineups. I just don't mind them for large field.
It's so fun. I'm in a little bit of suspense because I'm not exactly sure. I think I know which pitcher you're. I'm only 90% sure about which pitcher you're referring to for these last 2 games because I can.
Oh, wow, really? Okay.
I can go.
I'm pretty sure you're right, but anyway, well, let's go to the next one.
All right, so the next one I have is San Diego, Arizona. I had no interest in the hitters on either of these teams, and I don't know. Is Lamet your guy? I don't know. It's either Lamet or Montas. I don't know which one you're after. I really don't. I like both of them. I will say this about Lamet before you kind of tell me where you're at with him. And I go back to this. He has one of the highest whiff rates as far with his slider in the league. He certainly has upside, and certainly some strikeouts in here. Sort of. I don't know. He's not my favorite, but certainly has talent. So if you want to make a case for him, fine. I don't know if I'm going to do it.
He just put up the second biggest game of the year by any pitcher against the same team in his last start.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's why we play him.
That's why I don't want to play him.
Okay, good. All right.
I'm not as interested. I actually have some interest in him, but I just like the other guys better. That's the truth. I will have some exposure to him, but there's a lot of pitchers I like on the slate. I don't like. I will use the going back-to-back against the same team in their division as enough of a reason to potentially stay away from it. I don't like Merrill Kelly either, but I also am not crazy about the bats in this game. You can never go wrong by playing Tatis or Machado, but I'm just not going to get too much of the bats in this game, or really much of anything except for a little Lamet.
So my comments on the last game is that I had Montas as literally the next pitcher that I was going to be playing. So I had Cole Woodruff and then Valdez. I put Valdez if low owned, and then I put Montas if low owned. He was literally the next guy I was gonna put in. And I had no interest in any of the hitting.
Yeah, all this guy has done has been good, man. Like, I mean, he was working himself back in the first few starts. He had, was fortunate enough to face Seattle, so he got the 9K game. It was great against Houston in 7 innings. Gave up 2 hits. He's a good pitcher. I believe in him, and I don't believe in the Giants. I think the stadium is playing a little better hitting-wise, as people have mentioned. So it's not quite the huge boost you get by playing in San Francisco. So maybe there's a little bit of perception that might lead him to higher ownership. But as I mentioned, there's a lot of pitchers on this slate that are interesting. So I don't know where we're going to end up with him. It's a really tough call. So we'll talk about it now that I've got my percentages.
Well, Bobby, I'll tell you this. I'm just listening to what you were doing. And Bobby, I mean, if you can get like a Montas, Tyler Chatwood pairing home, you know what I mean? Like, you're a freaking hero.
Yeah, but like, why though? I mean, 60% of the time, these guys that so far in much tougher matchups, these guys have put up 30 plus. I don't understand why we would think that.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you to be. I'm just saying relative to the slate and the ownership.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about it would be like a miracle that if it happened.
No, I don't mean like the chance of it happening. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. You're in great shape. You're saying
that. Yeah, you play Chatwood, and you know what percent ownership the combination of Chatwood Montas is going to have? It's going to be like 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be.
Yeah.
Who's playing that?
Yeah, I hear you. All right, one more game, and then we'll do the live basketball in a few minutes.
It's really interesting because I don't have any more games.
How about Oakland and San Francisco?
Isn't that Montas?
Oh wait, what about the Oakland hitting?
I was gonna say I didn't really have any interest in it. You like the Oakland hitting?
I really like Matt Olson, and I like Chapman and Davis enough. This team.
Okay.
And they did a good job pointing out. I can't remember who it was. It was one of the RG guys who actually pointed it out. Oh, it might have been. It was Kirk Dees, my man, actually. He said he was talking about how it's true. If you face this A's team with people who don't throw really hard, they basically just get crushed every time. And Cueto has been really good and is good at keeping hitters off balance. He's actually looked better to me. He's had some really tough matchups. But I think this is a spot where I'm going to look for a home run from either Olson, Chapman, or Chris Davis.
Okay.
But that's it.
All right. So where are you at with your pitchers? Like, what percentages, like right now, would you put your pitchers at?
That's what I'm struggling with. It's too spread out, but I'm actually trying. You know what?
Okay.
Not nice when the site freezes on you. There we go. All right. So right now I do have Cole as the preferred because that's the one thing I keep going back to. Okay. I can find value on DraftKings. So, and I didn't mention this for San Diego before, but Cronenworth is one of the other guys you can use for value.
Oh, okay.
Garrett Cole just seems like the most sure thing. So why not just play him when you go through all these other question marks, But they save you a little bit, but they don't save you so much to where you don't need to play him. So maybe I'll just end up there. But as of right now, I've got Cole at 45%. Savale at 35%, Woodruff at 35%, Montas at 35%, Chatwood at 30%, and Valdez at 25%. That's basically my pitchers.
Yeah. So
with 15% Lamet and 15% DeGrom.
Yeah, for me, like right now, it's 100% Colton Woodruff, and it's going to be some Valdez. It's going to be Montas, and there's going to be some Chatwood out of respect. So Those guys are going to get in there. So there's going to be 5 pitchers. I'm not playing that many lineups, maybe like 20 lineups or something like that. But I'm going to be getting like 5 pitchers in probably. And as far as hitting goes, I like the Mets and the Yanks. You talk me off of whenever I say this, you're like, well, don't blame me if they do it. You after speaking with you, I'm a little less into Cleveland, a little less into Houston as well. Minnesota is still, again, I got to watch the weather in that one. That's the problem. So Mets and the Yanks are going to be my keys if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, I can get behind it. I'm Dodgers.
Oh, Dodgers. Not about that. Right, Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm Dodgers, Yankees, Twins, depending on the weather. Texas mini stacks everywhere. But again, 2-3 men. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. And and then some Mets. So we're sort of similar on most of ours, actually, but I'm just a little bit higher on the Dodgers and the Twins, probably.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Hey, hang in there after we close this. I want to talk to you about something else.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in with us. For Sheets, I'm Bobby saying good luck out there tonight. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.